hugging a mug. So welcome to the new channel, and for those of you who watch Mr. A Builder's channel, that's where I've just come from, and you will recognise where we are straight away. So if you wanted to see any more of this project, i.e. the brickwork going in, the foundations, all the roof being put on by me, then head over and you can see Adam putting all the brickwork in and doing the foundation works, and then me putting the roof on. So head over to Mr. A Builder's channel if you wanted to catch up prior to this point. We're now here doing the internal works in the extension. We'll be putting the suspended timber floor in, we'll be putting flitch beams in, stud works going in, completing floors in the extensions, they're all suspended timber floor as well, insulate it all, and then we'll be done then. So this is our job for today, or to start today. We are in an extension to a large bungalow, and what we've got to do, we've got to put the floor in here, suspended timber floor, which is what the customer wants, because the ground level was so low here, we'd have a lot of makeup if we did a concrete slab. So what we've done instead is we have put our 100mm of concrete blinding down, and then we're going to put our suspended timber floor in now in this whole area, which is about 7 metres by about 3.8 or something like that, I think. And then I'm going to knock through that window, which will become a doorway, and our finished floor level is about there, about centre shot. So there's the window, look, it's about centre shot there. So it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 courses of bricks down from that point. So what we've got to do first, we'll set up our laser, make sure we're going to drill a hole through into that room, put our level on it, measure down that side, measure down this side, either side, put a mark on the wall, set up our laser, maybe on this wall here, and then laser it through to start setting up our timbers that are going on the wall first, to ultimately carry the joists that we're going to be Jiffy hanging the joists to. So we'll do that first, and we'll talk about what fixings we're using, and we'll go from there. We'll hopefully take you through stage by stage, so if you're doing this at some point, we can give you a rough idea of how we do it, and you can maybe use that information to help you to do your project. Right then, let's carry on with it. So first job then, I've drilled through into the existing room there. Now this is going to be knocked out, this brickwork is, so it doesn't matter about me drilling a hole through the wall. I wouldn't do it this way if I hadn't got that option, but I have, so this is what I'm going to do. What I've done there is I've made sure this is going as parallel to the floor as possible, so in other words level. All I'm going to do now, or what I did in there, so I put my level on like that, lift the level over the top, make sure it's level, measure down to the floor like that, and I got 177mm. So what I'm going to do now, same again, take the weight off my tape, it's easier for me to do it one-handed, and then I'll put my level on there like that, put my tape to the underside of the level again, make sure I'm level like that, and then my measurement was 177mm to the floorboard. We're using 19mm chipboard, so that gives me 196. Next step then, I'm going to set my laser up. So what I'm going to do, once this comes out the way, I've also marked a 100mm mark as well on the wall. I'll go over there and I will set my laser up and try and get it on, or near as damn it to this 100mm mark as possible. So that means then, when I'm putting my floor structure in, I've only got to measure down, in fact no, I'm going to change that plan. I'm going to measure down 96mm, so when I'm dipping, I've got to measure down 100mm to each timber. This will come more clear as we go through the episode. So I'll dip down to the top of the joist, 100mm instead. So I'll change that measurement now to 96. Laser to 96mm mark. That's what we're going to do next. I've set my laser on my wall mounting bracket. Set it to my mark over there. And yes, this is, you could do it other ways, but I'm happy to do it this way. I'll just put a mark on the underside of my bracket now, like that. Put it in exactly the same place it's meant to be once it's set. And what I'll do then is, I will put the screw in the bracket and I'll fix that to the wall. I will check it in a minute as well to make sure it's right. But ultimately that's it. I'll take this off there now, fix it to the wall, and we'll go with that. So we now know where that laser is screwed into the wall. Bit of a washer on it as well to make sure it's nice and tight. That is bang on our mark, and all we'll do when we do take the laser off at night time, leave the bracket on the wall, come back in the morning, and we'll just check it. If it moves, we'll have to redo it, but that should be sturdy enough to keep us going for today. So I'm going to check that socket off the wall. It is dead, it's got not wide at all. The open end is the other end, just connected to that. Check that at the wall. And then we can get a measure for our timber to go across the wall here. And to fix it to the wall, we are using these concrete screws or concrete bolts. They're right, 10mm bolt or 10mm SDS, straight into the wall. So that's what we'll do, get ourselves set up now. 100mm down now from our laser line is the top of our timber. Join us today, very cold, but at least it's dry. There's a lot going on. Roofers are here, so there's a lot of knocking and banging going on above us where we are working, doing the suspended timber floor. So it may be that we have to sort of stop what we're doing, or you might not be able to hear what we're doing. So I might have to narrate over the top of the footage after, once I start editing, if you can't hear it very well. But we shall see. We have already started, you can see on screen, we've already started putting some all thread into the ledger plate that we put on to carry the floor joists, and we've resined it in using the raw plug you've seen. We've got to leave that now for 8 hours because of the temperature. It's going to take that long for this to go off. So we're going to see how we get on tomorrow with that. But for now, the spark is joined us as well in this extension to pull his cables through. We're going to start cutting the floor joists and put them in place. However, first of all, we're going to put a timber down the centre of the room, along its left to right, if you like, as you sort of look at it, as I'm looking at it there, left to right, to support the centre of the floor, even though the span of the 9x2 C24 is just okay to span. I want to make sure we're not going to get any bounce. So we're going to put this extra frame underneath the floor in the centre. So we're going to do that first. Okay, we've got our first one in, and we put the Jiffy hangers on first because you can't get to the side of it and it's a little bit awkward to get down the side of the joist, but I've put my first joist 100mm off the wall. We can then run the chipboard 50mm over that and leave our 50mm gap away from the wall, which is what you should do. The chipboard shouldn't go tight to your wall anyway. We've then started, because we carry on, repeat now. We just put the joist, we're going to put the joist in first now because it's easier, and then we'll go along then and put the Jiffy hangers on as we go, because there's going to be 3 of us short, because Matt is currently inside plastering what is the dining room in here. So we may get to show you that at some point when we start breaking through into the property, but we'll see. First of all, I want to show you a trick that I picked up myself off YouTube, and I think it was Kyle from RR Buildings, but I can't be too sure. So if you want to step in, Corbin, I'll show you what the trick is. So if you can't, can you get round there, Corb? So let's just say now this is a little bit tight, like, because we just did it on here. If we didn't catch it on this, we'd use that down there to get in there. If you just get your nail like that, look, and then twist it so it's 90 degrees, and you can hold on to that then. You can then locate your hole, and then you can start it off, pull the paper, fire it home. Little trick that I picked up, like I say, a while ago, and that is an absolutely superb little hack. Yes, you can buy the loose nails, and they are cheaper than these, but if you've got a PPN like I have, and you're using these anyway, then that is a trick to get you out of trouble, because trying to hold the little thing and get your fingers in there, and no, that's much better. So just try it. Going back to the timber on the floor. This here now, timber on the floor, tannalised timber onto a DPC, and then we're going to prop off this up from there up to here then. Prop it up and then fired into the side as well, just to check any potential sag, any bounce out the floor, and it won't sag because this is 400 centres, 9x2 C24, and this joint rafter is 4150, so it's right on the very edge of the span table from what I remember, because I've had it calculated by the customer's engineer, and I think he said this was right on the edge. So I decided to put this in the middle to make sure that there is definitely no bounce at all on this floor, because I don't like it when you can stand there and you can hear things moving. It unnerves me a little bit. We've also, behind Corby, we've also got a stud going in as well for the bathroom, and we're going to be putting noggins in, so another reason for putting extra bracing on this floor to make sure it doesn't bounce, and it carries the weight of the stud, which is going full width behind Corb, which is going to be a bathroom. So we'll crack on now, get all this flooring, and we'll talk about what our next plans are. We cracked on last night, and as you can see, if I just get myself set over here without falling through the joists, we've got all this side of the floor in up to this point, so we can still cut and mess about down there. I'm just cutting some more noggins. Corby is over there putting the last 6 in over there just to get a set, and then we have been and fetched our, out there, look, 120mm insulation Recticel from our local supplier, and we'll be cutting it into this floor. You can see we've fixed all the laths, and you would have seen earlier footage of Corby under here using the efficient use of the Milwaukee pack-out trolley to fix all the laths in. which I thought was quite amusing, but you know what, it's actually rather efficient. So Corby's going to get all these finished now. I'm going to carry cutting some more so we can fill this in, because there's 3 rows in total, because I'll do them every 1200, which is what you should do, every 1200 noggins should be spaced, there or thereabouts anyway. So we're putting last one over there, and I've also done these at 1200 space in between them, not centres, because we can then get a 1200 width insulation sheet in between them, rather than having to cut that way and cut this way as well. Because we've done the noggins all the way through, I now know that all of these gaps are exactly the same width-wise, so that'll make it more efficient when we start cutting insulation. So once Corby's done that, we can then move all this stuff. I'll carry on cutting noggins, as I've just said, with what I've got left, and then we'll clear all this out, move it all. We've got our laths under there ready to get back underneath to put the laths under here to catch insulation. So that's what we're going to do for now. I'm not going to film any of this because it's much of a muchness, or much of the same, should I say. So we'll get this finished, and then when we start putting this floor in, I'll put the camera back on. So there we are, the floor is all complete, all the noggins are in. Corby's been back underneath the floor, fixing all the laths in place to catch, well, not to catch insulation because it's friction fit, but to stop it falling out if for any reason it wants to fall through, but it won't now. What he's doing now is under there, putting these centres of the side of these joists down there, every other one. We're then going to get those 4x2 over there. We're going to fix it onto the batten we've already put on the floor, and then plumb it up the side of every other bay. Get the laser out, put a dip on it, and make sure that we're happy that it's nice and flat and level. And then we're going to fire into the side of these joists. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some blocks, about 500mm then, and put a block underneath the joist as well, and fire it onto the side of that one, just to stop it moving. That's what we are. Matt's just been cutting all the insulation. You can see it's quite a simple process really. So first of all, he obviously marks his centre on there, or his size, which is 355, because all the bays are the same. He then runs it through with the circular saw, and then after that uses the manufactured edge formed by the saw to follow the handsaw through. And as you can see, it's nice and square, so it is a simple process. Some of them are a little bit tight, but that's what we want them to be. But as you can see, a little bit of a tap, it goes down nice. This is 120mm in the floor, which is what we've got to put in, and we're putting it down to the bottom. It gives you a little bit of a service board then to run pipes and cables in. There's a bit of a dispute whether it should go at the top or the bottom, but if it's at the bottom, in my opinion, that's a bit like your warm roof scenario, that you've got that little warm void. That's my opinion. All inside there will be foamed, so there's no air gaps at all. So that'll be lovely. The only bit of a pain in the backside now would be every other bay. We've got to cut round a 4x2 in here, but if they're all in line, which they will be, it should be quite simple to measure one and then use the same measurement to follow all the way through. We've got ourselves another set of lights in because it was getting a bit dark in here. I couldn't really do any more filming earlier on with anything else because the roofers were here on the roof and there was a lot of noise and the radio was very loud, so I couldn't ask them to be quiet, could I? So So there we are. We'll crack on with this, hopefully finish the rest of the day now, putting all this insulation, all the props and insulation on this floor. And then we'll be at a point where we can start putting chipboard flooring down, which we've already brought a few into here, just to make it a bit safer to stand on. Well, we've cracked straight on with it this morning. We've got a few things done which I'll talk you through in a minute, but it's -4, which in some countries would be considered shorts weather, but in this country it's freezing for us. So we've done a few things. I'll spin you around and show you what we've done, discuss moving on from putting the props in the floor to carry any potential bounce, even though I'm confident now it's all noggined, there's nothing in it. We've had a couple of us standing on it, bouncing up and down, and you can't see any flex, so I'm confident in that. However, you will hear Corby has gone under the floor, bit of an afterthought. I want you to belt and braces. So what we've done is we've cut some timber from the sole plate we fix on the floor up to the underside of the joist now, and we're going to nail those on the side of those timbers that we ran from the timber on the floor up the side of the joists. So you can see it all down. It's all done, and I'm on about these props here. So what Corby's done, if I show you a bit of a model, so imagine that there now, just get like this, that there now is off, timber on the floor, up the side of the joist, like that, as you can see there. What we've done then is, we've then decided to get a timber, just set this for you so I can show you, and fix it underneath. Imagine that little gap there now is where the joist is. This timber on the left is up the underside of the joist, and it's just giving it a bit more support. So we've nailed the bejeebies out of that, as well as that one. I'm confident. I don't need I don't bolt it. I don't need anything else because I don't need it anyway. This is just me, more belt and braces. Oh, bit of dust kicking up. What we've also done, we've cut the block work off this threshold so the chipboard can run all the way through. And to combat any potential coal spotting, we have put a piece of, we use 120 in there, Matt?
120, yeah.
120 in the cavity. Now I did film this, but it was the wrong orientation. I didn't spin my camera like we are now. It was filmed this way, which wouldn't have worked, would it? So the 120 we knocked in the cavity on top of the cavity bats. We've then foamed that in. We've then put the cavity closers and foamed that in and pinned it, as you can see, all the way along with up here as well. Then what we're going to do is a piece of DPC from here. This is on just to hold the foam, just to secure it. From here, we're going to go up there, up the outside face of the brickwork you can see there, and back onto here. So when the doors are fitted, that potential coal spot area is completely encapsulated. When we come to put the last chipboard down, we're going to foam on top of that as well, all round the edge and all the way across it like that, and put the chipboard on top of that as well. So I'm then confident there's going to be no movement, there's going to be no cold spotting, nothing. Be confident.
Very.
We've just been discussing the fact that it's -4, and where Corby lives in Sydney, Australia, or near to Sydney, Australia, it's currently 35 degrees. And he's just been saying his mum phoned him the other day, and she said, it's a bit cold here. I've got me tracky bottoms on and me jumper and everything. It was 20 degrees. That'd be high to summer for us, wouldn't it? Anyway, a couple of other things we've done. You've caught on a bit of footage. We have put a timber on the side of this joist here. That is going to be where the base of the stud's going to be. So the stud wall going up here. So I've just put that in there just for peace of mind again. But again, because we've got the prop in, which is luckily worked out on the one there, look. I'm to carry the weight. I mean, you normally put a double joist, but it doesn't require it. So, especially with the prop, so that's fine. Put it straight on top of the floorboard and I'm happy. What we've also done is I've drilled some holes through the wall there and through the joists here, or through the noggins, to go into and under the existing suspended timber floor, and that is to get our flow return hot and cold feeds into here, through here, hot and cold over to there where the M is, which stands for mirror apparently, that's where the mirror is going. Important things first. And the radiators going sort of here, either side, bathroom side and bedroom side. So that's what we've got to do next. And then we can have a really good tidy up, which is about due, isn't it?
Yes.
And so we'll probably do that right now. Have a right good tidy up, put the pipe work in, and then we can start putting some floorboard down. We have got ourselves some sheets for the windows, some clear sheets, and a nice clear tarpaulin for that doorway. So we can get ourselves nice and cosy before next job is moving into there, knocking all this out, moving into here, stud work, doorways, ceilings down, flitch beams, everything into here. We'll cover all that next episode. Now, we haven't finished yet, so please stay tuned. And if you haven't hit that like button for this video and the subscribe button with your notifications ready for next week's episode, going through all the work I've just discussed about in there, then do that now for us. That'd be great. It helps the channel out. So let's just crack on. Oh no, should we have a cup of soup first to warm up?
Hug in a mug.
Hug in a mug. Right, let's do that first. You'll notice a difference since the time lapse stopped. Unfortunately, the customer came in to help me do not help me, to put the plumbing in place for the heating and get all the centres. And we put it up there ready to go when we started, and we completely forgot about it because our aim was to get this floor completed today, to then proceed to do other things such as what I've started to do there, which is the stud wall, bathroom, and then splitting them to 2/3 third roughly for a dressing room and bathroom ensuite there. So there we are. The lads have already started what will be in the next video, which is ripping all the ceiling down in here. What I thought was just a knock through into there, it isn't. It's actually here, we've just found out. Bit late to find out that now, but we weren't privy to this information, but we are now. So this is going to be lintled, so this will be sorted out by the customer. And then there's a corridor going roughly where that red mark is on the window. Through here, 1100 off this wall to the inside, through here, and then doglegging over there, 1100 wide again, and into a doorway into what is the original sitting room. Lot to do. That's all got to come out. Ceiling's got to come down, or the sloped bit in the ceiling anyway that you can see there. All that part there has got to come out. Flitch beam's got to go in yet. That's all to come. But our apologies again. We didn't really do much else other than using the glue, which we have used before, which we really like, which is this stuff. And it does exactly what it says it does, and that is stick wood and stone. Very, very good. So we use that, and then you put on the joints, we use this stuff, which is the, I got this from Amazon, a decent price. It's the D4 foaming glue. So you put it on, watch your hands, because look at the state of my hands, that won't come off for about a week. We put that in the joints, and what it does then, if I can see some on the floor, it does that, look, it foams like that, which means it expands in the joints of the chipboard and stops it squeaking. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the suspended timber floor, quite a large one, but it's all solid and we're really happy. Chipboard's down, as you've just seen. So we can now move on to all the other jobs we've got left to do in this house. I say left to do. It keeps multiplying every day. So we'll, hopefully you will stay tuned. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do that. Helps the channel with it being new and everything. And we can continue and show you more of what we're doing on this job, and there's a lot more to come. We've got extensions booked in. They're already started actually, and they'll be on the channel soon.